Welcome to the Geekcentric podcast. Today we're diving into our first ever experience at the Toronto International Film Festival. TIFF has officially wrapped, and we've gathered the geeks to chat about everything we did, all the incredible films we saw, and everything else that happened this week in Geek.
We are Geekcentric, and you can be too. Love ya. Get home safe, guys. Peace.
Hello, I'm J-Law, but you can call me Justin, and if you're joining us for the first time, well, we are Geekcentric, a podcast covering the world of movies, TV shows, toys, collectibles, gaming, and all things geek-centric. TIFF50 has finally wrapped. Yes, the big 50th anniversary of the Toronto International Film Festival. It was our first time attending as accredited press, and a huge thank you to TIFF for that honor. We're super excited to share our thoughts on the festival and the amazing films we caught. But of course, I couldn't do this alone. I can't do any of this alone. Today, I'm joined by two festival compadres who made TIFF even more unforgettable. First up, the guy who never met a film fact he didn't love, Mr. Darcy Hudson. And alongside him, our resident king of the witty commentary, Nate Shelton. Welcome, guys.
Oh man, I'm gonna try to be witty for this one. I feel like
I know you're struggling.
50 years old right now. You know, that's that's how I'm feeling right now after however many days we spent. But no, I'm ready to talk.
Darcy, you've had a long go at it yourself. You just hear it in your voice. You're tired.
Yes, I'm very tired.
It's been an interesting 10 days, nonetheless. But now, we're all here. And we're going to dive into it, but before we get into the nitty-gritties, I'd love to just do a quick rundown as to giving our audience a reason why maybe you're so tired. So what was the final number y'all managed to hit over these 10 crazy days?
I got to 20. Nice flat 20. Which
nice.
is a lot, but we know people that, some people we were talking to did 30, and our friend Thomas was going for 50 by the end of it. So 20 doesn't seem like anything compared to that stuff.
Right. That's nauseating.
Yeah. For me, I capped out at 17 was my number, and nice. I thought 15 was a good number, but honestly, the last two movies that we got a chance to see, I was crying my eyeballs out, so it's worth it. So
sure,
yeah,
for sure, yeah. It's a Nate Jerker, as we call it.
As we call them.
We shouldn't call it that.
Goodness.
Hey, it's stuck around, like all bad things. Sorry, I didn't even tell you guys how many I saw. I saw the least amount. I ended up seeing 10 movies. 10 movies. I did the least amount of work, and I am all the better for it. Let me tell you, I saw what I wanted to see, and I'm grateful for what I saw. But I got life and child, family. I got a lot of stuff to balance. I can't just give it all up for the festival. I did my best, and I'm excited to talk about some of these movies. And we all soaked in a ton of films collectively, and I'd love to talk about them. But let's start by talking about the festival itself. This was our first time doing TIFF as press, and we definitely learned a lot from picking up our badges to just navigating the press lounges and figuring out the ticketing system. So much. So. Let's share a bit about what that experience was like, and what was this experience of doing TIFF for the first time like for each of you on this TIFF50 adventure. Nate, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I mean, this was our first time doing this. We it's so funny, Justin, because we were saying we're probably only going to see 4 movies or something like that. We were very reserved. I know when we were originally considering doing TIFF, and I think we found a way to for the most part find balance. But I think there's definitely some learns that we made along the way. But no, it was a lot of early mornings. A lot of I feel like. I was saying to Darcy, I can't remember what day it was, but I was just feels like we live here. It feels like we especially in and around the TIFF Bell Lightbox and Scotiabank Theater. I think I've spent more time there than I have in my collective life in those locations before. But but no, I think it was really cool. It was really awesome to see all these movies, and I think especially to see all these movies from around the world and taking an international film. It was one of those things where I did have to keep reminding myself though, like, because I think when we go to conventions, we're seasoned convention goers, so getting into lines early was super easy. But when it comes to the experience of TIFF entirely, it was overwhelming, because I think when we're at a convention, we're surrounded by people that I feel like we're almost at the same capabilities of. Whereas this, we were surrounded by people that this was their 20th, 30th TIFF or what have you. And so there were some times where I had to just consistently remind myself, like, this is our first TIFF. Take it easy, enjoy some movies, and I'm really glad we did this, because I found a whole new love for film and especially international film, and taking in all those movies. So
yeah, that's awesome. Darcy, how about for yourself?
The badges picking up, I don't know why you said that was difficult. That was probably one of the easiest processes I did. I mean, I got all 3 badges and I was in and out in 10 minutes. That was, compared to other ticket processes we've had to go through at conventions and stuff, that one was very smooth and easy. So yeah, but again, just being around, seeing the city, or like the 4 or 5 city blocks taken over completely by movies for such a long time was really cool to see. And again, just being around people who are all there to see the same films we are, and again, getting that chance to see international stuff that we would maybe not go out of our way to see otherwise. So it was a really cool opportunity to have, and I'm glad we got the chance to do it.
Yeah. I feel like for me, the like you're saying, the whole experience was just incredibly immersive. The entire city just comes alive and turns into this sort of beacon for film lovers, and you meet so many different people who all share a huge passion for movies, and it just feels incredibly enriching. And like, to your point, Nate, it's like we kind of felt out of our element, because we've had this conversation. We don't think of ourselves as film critics, but we definitely ran into a lot of film critics and press people, but we also met people that were like us, that are just lovers of movies, that are, covering this festival and, doing their thing. And it was really, really great. Yeah, you know what, Darcy, from a logistical side, the badge was probably the easiest, because you did it. And you just went and drove and picked it up on our behalf. You're absolutely right. The badge pickup was the easiest, which is why I wanted to call it out. But what was a little bit difficult was figuring out scheduling. I think, the idea of trying to do this collectively together, the 3 of us, we could only really do the press and industry screenings, which were very scattered in terms of scheduling. And it became very clear early on that this was going to be a bit of a mixed bag in terms of how much we were going to see together and how much we were going to actually see apart. And that actually happened quite a bit. I think the most I did was like a 3-movie day. I'm like 4. I think it'd be a bit much. I actually appreciated the coming down and doing a movie and seeing a conversation or just hanging out with people. I thought that was really cool. It just made it all worthwhile to do that. But yeah, I think, like, as feedback to TIFF, I feel like it'd be great to find a way to consolidate us as an outlet and kind of like bundle our tickets together. In some cases, we had so many friends like Thomas, Matt and Eric from the Untitled Movie Podcast, just kind of like giving us tips on how to go about securing tickets and how to rush lines or call the Ticketmaster early in the morning to see what's available, or hitting the site, or what days are good to hit the site, and so on and so forth. So there was a lot of logistical things to kind of maneuver through. One of those things was just trying to see things that made sense on specific days. I don't know about you guys, but like some of the movies that I didn't get to see that I really wanted to see, they only had 3 screenings. And one of them was a press and industry screening. And it was like at a very inconvenient time where it was like 3 press and industry screenings are all layered. So I feel like, spread those out a little bit, please. Like that would be ideal, at least, to kind of have some of them a little bit more frequent. One film that I'm going to talk about later, Tuner, it was one movie that I thought I had missed. And they surprised and delighted and added an additional screening on Saturday, and I was able to go see it, and I loved that. So I just feel like there could have been more of an opportunity for some of these films to be seen in less than a day, like over the course of the festival, just like throwing a screen in there. But I get it. There's a lot of movies. There's a lot of movies.
292 movies. So, I mean, I guess you got to pick and choose which ones you're going to be doing multiple replays of or screenings of.
For sure. So I just, I understand that the orchestration of a schedule is its own. You have to figure that out. So, but yeah, I think that was something that I had noticed and wanted to. But yeah, I think I approached this first festival as more of an observer. You know, I felt like a guest in this sanctum of TIFF, right? I know it's stupid, but I did. And I wanted to soak in the atmosphere while balancing everything else outside of it, like life and stuff like that. But, you know, over the 10 days, like we were talking about, we saw a lot of films. We saw a lot of stuff. But one of the cool things about TIFF that festival is that we each got to see conversations. We got to go see someone talk and share some thoughts. It's just beyond the movies, right? Getting a little more in depth with understanding more about the behind the scenes of things. And yeah, we saw some incredible people. Darcy, Nate, I know you guys both had seen some conversations. I'd love to get some insights of what you took away from the conversations and who you got to see talk, of course. Nate, we'll start with you.
Yeah. So, you know, I know that both of you had the opportunity to go see the John Candy documentary, I Like Me. And during that screening was the In Conversation with Ryan Reynolds.
An example of logistical weirdness. Like, why not kind of stagger that? Like, that just feels like it could a missed opportunity. But yes, continue.
I would have loved to have maybe seen the movie and then heard Ryan Reynolds. But, you know, Ryan Reynolds spoke about the film, but he also talked about there was a wonderful sort of conversation through his life, and we got to sort of see some early performances. One of my favorite things is just, you know, I think it's whenever they put different films on the screen and you're watching an actor see their work. I think a lot of people look at the screen. I love watching the actor themselves, because you can always look up those movies at a later time and watch those scenes and sequences, but to see someone like Ryan Reynolds watching his own work was delightful, and hearing his commentary. He spoke about the collective effervescence, I think is how he put it, of John Candy, of the legacy that he had and that he left behind, and it was really touching to watch him talk about this man. One of the moments that really hit me was he said that, you know, he said John's heart gave out at 43, but ironically, the one thing that stayed behind is his heart. And so it was just it was a lovely sort of conversation. Got me teary eyed quite a bit, and then of course getting to the trailer got me super teary eyed. But it was really interesting to sort of see this comedian who, you know, he's a legend in his own right, but to see him kind of go through and talk about his career, but then so instantly sort of shift to talk about someone like John Candy was really lovely. So yeah, I had a great time hearing from him, and yeah, it was a delightful in conversation that'll stick with me.
Yeah, and what's interesting about that, like you said, is like you didn't watch the movie, unfortunately, just because of the timing. But the conversation itself gives enough context to understanding what the strength of the movie actually is. And Darcy and I were in the press and industry screening. That said, what was interesting is just how much of what you learned just aligned with obviously what we saw, and how we saw it showcased in the stories of kindness around John Candy, just how many people loved him and would gravitate towards him because of his kind-hearted nature. And you know, his son had this sentiment that his mind was overweight, his mind was consumed by so much, and that was just, it's so powerful to hear some of the stories. And you know, he's Canadian. Canada is seen as kind people, so it's very nice to see that sort of that love shown in a documentary. And his friends, they, you know, it was funny in the documentary, they all were joking around, and they were saying, like, I really want to find something bad to say about John, because there's nothing bad to say about a guy. It wasn't a documentary about trying to make someone look bad or like unveil a secret about them, something provocative. It was really just a documentary about a kind-hearted person, and it was really well done.
Yeah, it sounds like it was like a celebration of life, right? And I think that's the best way to sort of look at it.
100%.
Brian said that one thing that he learned making I Like Me was just to disappoint one person. He talked about how much of a people pleaser John was, and how that affected him in terms of his mental health. So he just sort of gave the giveaway of like just disappoint one person. But he also there were some really funny moments as well with the conversation. I think my favorite moment in terms of just Ryan Reynolds being Ryan Reynolds, well, there's two. Either him talking about his experience of interrupting a scene with Denzel Washington because his phone went off, and everyone's looking around the room, and Denzel's like, whose phone is? And so that was great. And then the other one has to be when he realized that there was somebody taking the notes for the like the subtitles that were appearing on the screen live behind him, and he realized that somebody was actually actively typing that out. So he started saying a bunch of crazy words, and then just started saying supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and to whoever it was that was doing the subtitles. Kudos to them, because they managed to get it. But no, yeah, it was a great in conversation, and I'm happy that I did it.
Yeah, and I'm happy you did it as well. Now, Darcy, you had the privilege of attending a industry panel talking about animation. Tell us more about that.
I did get a chance to sit down for the industry dialogue, where it was more press focused and industry focused. So we got to sit down with Domi Shi of Elio and Turning Red fame, along with 3 directors from this year's TIFF. Momoko Sato, who directed Dandelion's Odyssey, Mamoru Hosoda, who directed Scarlet, and Kid Koala from Quebec, who directed Space Cadet. And they kind of sat down and talked about their creative process when approaching their films, some of the stories behind what led to their films happening. Kid Koala mentioned his movie was almost 14 years in the making, from him starting that comic book after experiencing the passing of his grandmother while looking forward to the birth of his first child, and how that kind of had him looking forward and past, and how that led to this storytelling. And then also how Momoko Sato, who did Dandelion's Odyssey, she was inspired by the French experimental filmmakers about how they were never afraid to create new techniques when making movies or creating new devices. So when she said she wanted to spend 9 months in France shooting time lapse of plants with 17 cameras and this crazy rig that ended up with 400 terabytes of data to go through to create this movie that is a visual spectacle. It's really cool to see and hear about how these people come up with their creative ideas and stuff like that. It was a really fun conversation, and wish I had better note taking. A lot of my notes are pretty gibberish, but it was a very cool.
It's totally fine. It's a good highlight of the conversation. And you saw all the films that were featured in this conversation.
Yes,
though, correct?
I did. I made sure I was doing that.
Yeah, exactly. And it was cool that obviously Domi's there.
Yes, and she
from Elio.
shared her experiences about, of course, growing up in Toronto and what it was like, why she wanted to bring so much of that to Turning Red, and then when it was with Elio, how she connected with the character. And it was, she was growing up in high school, being the VP of the anime club when anime was a very niche thing to be into, and there's probably 4 or 5 kids in her club, and she was looking for somewhere to belong. And when she finally found that place among her fellow creative directors and stuff like that at Pixar, she's like, that's what Elio was looking for. He wants a place to belong. And that's how she connected with his character and started telling his story once she stepped into this project after the fact. So it was really neat hearing how she was connecting with the character she wasn't always involved with the inception of, and seeing her make that connection to tell this story and make it so much more impactful.
Right. Yeah. I think the only film that I saw from those filmmakers was Kid Koala's Space Cadet. I think that's the one that we all saw together. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that was like day 1 or 2. It's a good film. Some of the animation left me wanting a little bit more because it was almost too simple and too basic. But like, it really mattered with that simplicity and that design that it had in the space scenes, like because it is called Space Cadet, so we are going to go to space. That's not a spoiler, but but I think the overall story about that film is so beautiful. It's so heartfelt, and I think it feels very Canadian too, right? Like it just, that lineage of history and whatnot. So again, not to give away too much, but that's really cool that you got to actually, you saw the movies, you saw the people talk about them. I thought that was cool. Yeah,
it was really cool. It was really cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thanks to the graces of Nate, who got the earliest time slot to get his tickets. You got the ticket for Dwayne, and you exchanged it with me so I could cover this one. And I was so grateful because this was a movie that I was very excited to see at TIFF. Was Smashing Machine. So for me, it was a great personal highlight from this festival to catch the conversation with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the most electrifying man in Hollywood. It was cool. You could see he's stepping into a new chapter with Smashing Machine, because this conversation was also to lead into the premiere of Smashing Machine. The fact that the first part of that conversation starts with him, kind of recanting his career and, how the ups and downs that it's had from wrestling into Hollywood and how it's found him here in this moment with the Smashing Machine. And then to be joined on stage by Emily Blunt and Benny Safdie, who just, again, were just singing his praises and just loving him for him going the distance and, leaning into this sort of more dramatic role. But yeah, it was interesting to see how, if you look at his career, Dwayne has always kind of really faced some sort of sense of rejection or pressure, and he's always overcome it. In wrestling, it was like die Rocky die. You know what I mean? And then he became The Rock. In Hollywood, everyone's like, oh, this guy's just a pretty boy wrestler. He's not going to do anything. He ended up breaking the boundaries, and he broke into Hollywood and is one of the biggest action stars and movie stars working in Hollywood. This moment reminds me very much like Jim Carrey when he took the dramatic leap from his slapstick humor in the Man on the Moon, where he plays Andy Kaufman. Here Dwayne is like, he's going into this, stripping all of that bravado and that sort of rock electricity, and he's doing something that's like very introspective, very grounded. It's unexpected. And it's cool to kind of see him try to like push himself. I might bring up that movie again later, so I will stop there. But it was really cool, and I'm glad we all got to see a conversation at this festival, because that's kind of cool too, right? Outside of just seeing movies, is to see people talk. Like, I think they also had Park Chan-wook, the director of No Other Choice, which won for the People's Choice foreign film, if I'm not mistaken, which is cool. It's great, and to have these conversations, I think, sprinkle that through. That's the equivalent to a panel. Come on, like, guys, like we just went to Fan Expo. Like, it's the equivalent to panels, right? We're seeing shit, and then we're going to a panel. Like, it's nice, right? Yeah, of course, man. Yeah. That's what's cool. It's nice to hear the people that make the stuff talk about it. So, okay, look, I know I've been like slowly building towards the conversation of movies, but one last thing, because I forgot about it. We did the Criterion Closet. We didn't do it together. But we did the Criterion Closet. What was that experience like for you guys, though?
It was really cool. I mean, it's seeing all the videos online. It's a dream for any fan of films to step into that closet for yourself. So getting the chance to do so with the actual production team who's responsible for bringing those videos to life, standing in that closet is a very memorable moment, and getting to walk out of there with your own Polaroid, and of course the discounted on some of the films you can buy was really cool. So that was a very long wait in the morning. I will say that much. We got there, 3 hours before the line even opened, and it took a while for us to get through there, but in the end, it was worth it. We've got something that we'll remember for a while now.
Yeah, and I think Justin, you had brought up earlier, getting to just sort of celebrate movies, but be surrounded by people who want to celebrate and love movies. And we were there pretty early. Darcy, what time did we get there? It was like,
I think we were in line at 8 or 8:15,
something like that, which is crazy. And we were in the line. We were in the unofficial official line. Like there was a lot of unofficial official lines at TIFF, and this was one of them. But we were lucky to be hanging out with Cooper and Tristan. I'm going to shout them out, who hung out with us, and we learned while we were in line that it was a minimum of 3 people have to go in. So make friends, and that is not hard to do. Again, when you're at TIFF and you're in line for something. But it was great, and it was one of those things where the Criterion Collection. Justin, you brought up earlier, like we're fans first more than we are film critics, and I think even on the other side of that, we are. I don't consider myself somebody who knows a ton in terms of the collection of the Criterion Collection. I haven't seen a ton of those movies, so getting handed a pamphlet with just so many movies in this giant list, and here I am like checking off like, okay, Wall-E, I guess. So, but no, it was great, and it was a lot of fun to have that experience and to go through that. And Darcy took my my Michael Shannon, I'm such a lucky boy picture for me, which I appreciate.
Went viral, bro. That went viral.
A little viral, and it was so funny because the next day we literally walked by Michael Shannon.
And they had... You walked by him?
We walked by Michael Shannon. He was walking around.
Okay, because he was here. Oh, that's wild.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
So that was really cool. No, it was awesome to kind of have the Criterion Closet experience, and I'm excited to kind of dive in and see more of those films with maybe the subscription that they gave us. So
all right,
really
quickly,
cool stuff.
Quickly, what were your picks?
My 3 were Spinal Tap, The Life Aquatics with Steve Zissou, and The Hidden Fortress.
I picked Wall-E, of course. I picked Parasite, and because of Frankenstein and just Guillermo being on my mind so much, I grabbed Pan's Labyrinth as well, which I'm excited to rewatch because I haven't watched it since I think back when it was in theaters. So I'm excited to check that out and see some of the special features on the Criterion Closet. Justin, what did you pick?
I picked. So when I went in, they didn't have 2 of the movies that I wanted. They didn't have Bicycle Thieves or Wall-E, but they had my next set of lists. So I got Do the Right Thing, a Spike Lee joint. I got Okja, Bong Joon-ho's magical fairy tale. Yeah. And then I picked up Perfect Days, which I actually haven't watched, but I've heard nothing but great things about. And if it's on the Criterion Collection, like you said, it's such a revered collection. It's a curation. It's right, and that's what I love about what the Criterion does and how they select their movies. It's not about a hierarchy of like, well, this is a great film. It's just what movies they're picking. Like they have Michael Bay films in the Criterion Collection, right? They have RoboCop in the Criterion Collection. They have influential genre-based films in the Criterion Collection. So it's always been something that I've always admired because it's like books, right? With it. So to do the experience, which has obviously become a viral sensation, was incredible. You guys got there at 8:15. I was there at 7. I don't know what madness I was, but I'm glad I was there at 7.
It paid off for you.
Oh, it did. I got front of the line. And it was not by me though. It was by making friends. I met Lauren, Brittany, and Andrea, and as far as I know, they didn't know each other. So we were all 4 people that just did not know each other.
Fantastic.
And we were at the front of the line, and it was a really fun experience and worthwhile for sure. But yeah, there was a lot of like, this isn't a line, because I heard like Sunday they had decided to attack it very early because they knew people were going to be there early. But like for you guys the day before, because you did it on Saturday, I did it on Sunday. Your line got capped at 9 a.m. and the line actually hadn't even opened. It didn't open until 9:30, and that this had to be addressed quite quickly because people were showing up when the line was said to have opened based on online information at 9:30. And it's like, sorry, there's no room. And it's like, well, if I had known I should have been here early, I might have.
Well, yeah, so me and Nate did the Friday. We went on the Friday.
You did the Friday?
Saturday,
Yes,
we were
sorry.
walking by, and I just happened to stop and ask the guy in line who was first when he got there, and he said 6 a.m. So, like,
Yikes.
Saturday, people were getting there at 6 a.m. to line up, and I guess they were told to come back later the next day, because if you were an hour later and first in line, I don't know. It's just people were coming just for that, and the fact that it was open to the public means someone just walking by could have walked up
could have seen that and hopped in line and also just been clocking it. had been clocking and it had the information. If you were to put up a barrier of passage, which is a badge or like some sort of like ticket for TIFF or something that could just be like, you're there for TIFF and you could do the experience, it might have mediated it a bit more, but there was a lot of people there. So, but it was cool. It was cool to be a part of the thing that's been kind of going around the internet and with its viral sort of moments with actors or filmmakers in the closet selecting their films. It's kind of like their own version of Letterboxd, right? And how Letterboxd has their, pick your 4 and it's like, pick your 3 movies from our collection that you want. And everyone always tends to walk out with more. I could have walked out with more. I would have walked out with a lot more. Okay, well, thank you for sharing on that experience. Let's just get into what we did. The films themselves that we saw. People are asking, like, are you going to do reviews? Are you going to do reviews for stuff? Yes, we're going to do reviews. We got reviews that we want to do. They're going to be coming later, probably closer to the release of some of those movies, like Wake Up Dead Man, Knives Out, Frankenstein. Smashing Machine is another one. Rental Family is also another one. I think there's talks of Obsession as well. These are all films that we would love to review and we are going to review as part of coverage for individual films. But, we saw a bunch of movies and definitely outside of our usual geeky comfort zone. And I think that's the beauty of what TIFF is. It's a celebration of all kinds of stories. So I'd love to know as a bit of a roundtable, what were some of your 3 that just really stood out to you? I know it's hard because you guys saw a lot more, and it's really, really hard to do it. But if you had to think of 3 that just maybe stuck with you, not necessarily your favorite, they're just sticking with you. Darcy, I'm going to throw it to you first. What's one film of your 3?
Well, I mean, I mentioned it already from the dialogues. Dandelion's Odyssey was one that the synopsis for it had me so intrigued when it was talking about it follows 4 dandelion seeds leaving planet after a catastrophic event on Earth has rendered it lifeless, essentially. And just the way that they use time-lapse technology to tell the story and use like actual plants and tadpoles and frogs and stuff like that as characters in this movie was insane. I don't remember or never even thought that I would care so much about dandelion seeds, but I do care, and I'm so happy that 2 of them made it somewhere that they could sorry. Yeah, I never thought I could care so much about dandelion seeds, but I walked out of there just a changed man through the visuals and the storytelling without dialogue for just seeds. Again, it's wild, but if anyone has a chance to check it out, it is definitely worth it. It is a visual spectacle and just one of the most interesting and unique movies you'll ever see.
Yeah, and you being the Earth guy, like you're into dirt, dude. So like it makes sense.
Yeah, one of your favorite characters in the movie.
Bro, exactly. Dirt. Yeah, dirt. Exactly. It's the thing that gave life. I feel like for you to have an appreciation for it just totally makes sense. But I also think that it's incredible, the technique of animation, because you were talking about it too from the conversation, and this was while we were, I think, waiting in line for something, that it was interesting because there was an attention to like stop motion and like the amount of data and material that was captured for sort of these like almost time-lapse sequences that served as an animation style. How much it felt like to add like a hyper realism, if I'm not mistaken. Like it felt very like real at times, right? And that's pretty cool. That's pretty dope. Nate, you got one? You got one, bud? I saw you flipping through the notebook.
I'm looking through the notebook. I got my TIFF50 notebook. It's got all my notes. I know
you kept it good. I got one as well. I got the smaller version of that. So, but what's the one you're picking? What's the one? I'm
gonna start off with Rental Family. This is one that I know we were all looking forward to quite a bit. I am a Brendan Fraser fan. That's not necessarily, I know we were talking with Matt and Eric and they didn't necessarily fully share that sensibility. I know Matt's since come around after seeing it, and Matt from Untitled Movie Podcast, Matt Rohrbeck, and Justin Yu and Darcy and I, we all have this shared experience that we all had the opportunity to go to Japan earlier in the year, and so I think some of that might also play into the love for this movie. But Rental Family it's interesting because, you know, we were talking leading up to this about the big three, right? We're talking about Smashing Machine, Knives Out, and Frankenstein, and I don't think any of those are on my like top three, which is crazy to sort of think about. But Rental Family is in there, and I love how the movie showcases Japan in such a beautiful way. And it doesn't do that thing that a lot of movies that showcase Japan or a lot of movies that showcase different countries do, which is just to show the hits. It does show some of the negative sides of the culture. It does showcase some of the elements around infidelity. But the cool thing is that it also, that whole experience of sort of seeing both sides of it parallels the experience of the rental family service itself.
Exactly.
And I love that the movie showcases both the positives and the negative sides of the rental family service, which Hikari, the director, was at the premiere, and she just talked about how shocked so many people were in North America that rental families and rental family services are a real thing in Japan. But no, I absolutely adored this movie. I cried my eyeballs out. Anything with little kids or grandparents just makes me bawl. And yeah, this was such a beautiful exploration of real emotions. Right. And whether or not they're fake scenarios, they're very much real emotions. And it was really beautiful to see.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned Hikari being there for premiere. She was also there for every screening of Rental Family.
Oh, wow.
She appeared into the Q&A afterwards. She wanted to talk to the fans. And I think
I saw
that was
her,
one of the
because
coolest.
I left.
Yeah, I walked by her as I was heading out during the credits because I of course, 2.5 hour movie, I needed to pee afterwards, or 2 hour movie, I needed to pee afterwards. So as I was heading out, I said, I love the movie. I wish I could stay around for the Q&A, but I have a tiny bladder. So it's really cool that she wanted to spend the time to talk to the fans and share her love for this movie with the people who watched it. So that was really cool.
Wow, you shared your pee information with Hikari?
Yeah, I told her I'd love to stay, but I had to pee. Okay, I'm not afraid.
Yeah, clearly you aren't. No, but Rental Family was on my list as well too, Nate. I don't want to obviously get too much into it because we're going to do a review for it. But yeah, like I feel like, you know, and she talked about it in the Q&A after the film, but it does feel like this is a beautiful and very heartfelt exploration of loneliness, and through the lens of Japan and the culture, and understanding how something like the Rental Family is its therapy for the people of Japan. It really does just kind of go to show that like the greatest therapy that can be that we can all have isn't something in solitude, but it is about human connection. It's about being there for someone, and whether, like you said, through the lens of is that true or is that not. And you know, Hikari also talks about how there's all sorts of different businesses like this where you can like rent someone, and the layers that you get of seeing that while also seeing the rental family in this film and how it's just embedded in the culture. It's really, really interesting. And yeah, children 100% make me bawl. Old grandparents and old people. Yeah. And this had both. So very excited to talk about that movie with you guys on a future review. Darcy, throwing it back to you now. What's number 2 on that list?
Yeah, I'm trying to keep my 3 to ones that we won't be talking about in reviews, because I figured when else am I going to chance to talk about some ones I went to on my own. So another one I wanted to talk about, another foreign film. Again, this festival has reinvigorated my love with foreign films, specifically the Asian films, because I saw a lot of films from over there. But one of my favorite ones was Furious. It was a raid redemption style, story of a man trying to get his daughter back. And it is just some of the best fighting choreography I have seen in a long time. The punches that were thrown made it so hard. The chemistry, the fight chemistry between some of these villains and the main character are so great, and just showcasing, kung fu and wushu at its finest it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with that movie, and I wish you guys could have gone with me, because I feel like you would have gotten a lot of it too, because it was.
Oh yeah, it's one that I was on it was on that long list of
our long short list.
Our long short list. I don't even know how people have a short list if there's 290 films, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's just a side note. No, I've heard good things about this film, and I believe it was one of the honorable mentions on the Midnight Madness, along
Yes,
with
it was.
Obsession.
Yeah, I think it was the second
So
runner-up.
it was well received, and that's really cool. Yeah, the foreign films really hit this year. For me, if I'm just going to jump in here real quick and talk about Good News, which was an absolute surprise and delight. Thank you to our friend Aisha at Agents of Fandom for scoring the tickets. We went in cold. We didn't know nothing about this movie. Yeah, and it was cool to go, and the director was there, the actors were there, so it was kind of it was a premiere. We had to leave to go to another screening. I know that, so we had to dip after, but it was cool to see them come and you know, they even just to hear the director share the excitement of everyone being able to see this movie is cool. Being a part of his moment. But yeah, this was a surprise, man. It was quirky. It was very it was packed with personality. It's like a political heist film, if you will, that's got some Wes Anderson vibes. I don't know, like the way it balanced humor and tension was really, really beautiful, and it won me over. I think it felt like its own vibe. It might have gone a little long. That's my only real critique of it, but it was well done. It was absolutely well done, and that's going to be coming to Netflix. So you'll probably be able to see that. I'm hoping before the end of the year. But yeah, that was one on my list. Nate, how about you, man?
Yeah. Number two for me. I mean, I just really want to talk about it, even though we are going to talk about it more in a future review, probably, maybe. I don't know if Darcy's down, but Bad Apples was one of the ones where I love when I can, like, a movie can end and we get to the cut to credits and I can just look over at Darcy and he just looks back over at me and we just have the biggest grin on our faces, because that movie was excellent. And it was one of those ones where, you know, we had heard from people, hey, yeah, oh no, Bad Apples is great. Oh, it's so good. I think Thomas was telling us to check it out. But I had no expectations, no previous information other than Saoirse Ronan's in it. And what a film. It's striking. It has that wonderful blend of, you know, horror filmmaking sensibilities brought to a more conventional setting of a teacher with a student, with a class, and with a student who is, maybe not the best. He is a bit of a bad apple. He's a troublemaker to some of the most almost dangerous degrees. But it's one of those things where you get sort of senses of like that cringe horror of like, what is it like to be a teacher and have to be judged for your capabilities of being a teacher while having to deal with someone like this. And it goes off the rails in the most spectacular ways possible, some really dark ways. But I wanted to shout out Saoirse Ronan as Maria is just absolutely incredible. She carries through the film. But I also really, really need to shout out Eddie Waller, who plays Danny, who is the troubled child, if you will. And even more specifically, Nia Brown, who plays the character Pauline, who is this little girl who is kind of she wants to be the teacher's pet. She just loves Maria so much. And there are just moments where Pauline is just causing the most crazy tension in the room. We are all clenched up. And yeah, it was just such a ride the entire way through, and so striking from everything from the visuals to the music. It was excellent. And Darcy, I know you absolutely loved it as well.
Yeah, for sure. Again, when you can ride that line between humor and unease so easily. Like, there's a lot of stuff where throughout the movie we're like, oh, this isn't going to end well, and then it goes a different direction that just has you laughing while also still feeling incredibly uncomfortable. Like, it is, again, kudos to Saoirse and the two kids, because again, the way that they play off each other works so well to build this unease that you're laughing at. Like, again, it was such a weird feeling to come out of that movie, be like, that was disturbing, but I loved it and I laughed at a lot of parts of it. Like, it's weird,
very
and
unique.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one that I definitely wanted to see. I was super jealous that you guys got to see it. I'm hoping that we'll be able to see like the movies that like something like this I would love to see, and then maybe we could do a review for it. Like if it's because it sounds like it's a genre blend within the confines of like a story based on what you've described, which I think is really interesting. I think that's fun how it's kind of like playing and mixing all the genres. Okay. Number 3, Darcy, we're at you now. What's your final
get
film?
going with another foreign film and another animated one. This is the last one I saw of the festival, but I'm so glad that me and Nate managed to made that our last film because it was such a delight. We saw Little Emily, or the character of Rain, and it's a story of a girl from 0 to 3 basically, and how she views the world, and just the way that kids will see the world to be so much bigger, or their scope of view is so much smaller, and as they start seeing more stuff starts coming into their life and affecting how they interact with it and the family and around them and stuff. And it was between the most like beautiful like visuals you can ever imagine, like some French Impressionist paintings come to life. It has some of the most like heartfelt storytelling and just genuine kid based storytelling. Again, it really felt like a child was the one who was telling the story, and it was just so beautiful of a journey. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, Amelie's dialogue throughout the movie very much feels like a grown person, but the sensibilities to what you're talking about. Like at one moment, she experiences white chocolate for the first time, and she said she was born by the grace of white chocolate.
Yeah,
and just little things like that are very much what an adult would say. But from the, like you said, from the perspective of a 2-year-old, 3-year-old, and it follows a family that moves from Belgium to Japan, and it's just like how many movies. I mean, Smashing Machine was in Japan. There's Japanese characters in Good News, and then and then Rental Family, and this. It's just so many reminders. This festival.
We got to go back. We just got to
go back to Japan. But no, I'm right there with you, dude. Little Amelie was such a delight to experience, and I'm so happy we did. And it is just beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous in so many different ways. That was a really lovely surprise for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to throw it to you, Nate, for your final pick of your 3. What's your final pick, my friend?
Yeah. This was one of the earlier movies that we saw, Darcy and I, which is Obsession. Which is a horror film. We were very excited to see Curry Barker's directorial debut. Darcy, remind me again, his sketch comedy that he does is called...
So he's part of the duo of That's a Bad Idea. Him and Cooper Tomlinson they just write some really great back and forth dialogue.
Yeah, if you spent some time on anywhere in the comedy sketch scene on Instagram or TikTok, you've probably seen some of Curry's work, but getting to a feature film, this was another one of the Midnight Madness films that they had done, and I mean, we were in a group of a press audience, but it felt like we might as well have just been at a Midnight Madness.
Oh, we were getting
audience.
Audible reactions when we needed it, and the best was when that there was a scene where they linger a bit too long, and just the one guy in our crowd just audible. Fuck. It's like, yeah, we were all thinking the same thing, man.
So it was so funny. That was everyone was laughing quite a bit, but I think it's just one of those things where comedy and horror. So many comedians make the best horror directors, and we've talked about this, and we will continue to talk about the fact that it's all about timing. And Curry Barker, for a directorial debut, he's done short films before, which are great. This was such an incredible step to get to see in his journey. I think Michael Johnston, who plays Bear in this, is fantastic. But the scene stealer, the movie stealer, and I apologize if I'm mispronouncing her name incorrectly, but Ind Navarrete plays Nikki in this, and it's just the kind of thing where I mean, the movie, just to clarify, it's a monkey's paw situation about someone who's in love, desperately in love, and we've all been there. We've all had crushes who maybe didn't necessarily give that same love back that we would want. But he makes a wish, and let's just say things go horribly, horribly, gruesomely wrong. But Nikki or Ind was incredible. There are just so many moments where she's shot where she's maybe up against a wall or in the background somewhere. And there's just moments where you've got this character who is equal parts terrifying and equal parts inviting, and it's just such it's a movie that will stick with you. If you don't like blood and gore, maybe not for you. But if you want a movie that's going to kind of traumatize you a little bit and live and stay with you and stick to you, definitely check out Obsession. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was wild.
And I think one of my favorite parts of that is that we saw that like one of the first days there, and it was before it had debuted at
Saturday.
Midnight Madness. So we were able to tell people check out Obsession, and then hearing them by the end of the week saying, "Yeah, that was fucked," and I loved it. It was really cool to be kind of ahead of the curve for once, and that was one of the cool things about this festival was talking about the movies we've seen and what ones we recommend. So again, getting to finally recommend to some of our friends who are like the Untitled Movie Podcast and to Thomas and stuff like that, like check out that movie and that they actually liked it. It's like, well, we do know what we're talking about sometimes.
Yeah,
We
cool.
deserve to be there. I know it's like, like it might feel like imposter syndrome sometimes, but yeah, we know good shit. No, that's great. And honestly, Eric was the one who introduced us to Sentimental Value. It was the first film we saw day one in the piss pouring rain. My God.
Oh my goodness.
What a way to start TIFF. Yes, that was the way we started it. With
I'm feeling
a lot of
sentimental
rain.
for that,
Yes, absolutely. That's a movie we're going to talk about as a review. We're going to have Eric on, special guest, and we'll chat about that movie. But my movie selection is an excellent example of what you just mentioned, Darcy, and that's called Word of Mouth. And the movie Tuner was one that I had seen and was interested in, but couldn't make it work. And it was kind of like you were saying, Darce. And once everyone was like, damn, Tuner was really good. I was like, I knew it. I want to see this goddamn movie now. So I was so thrilled when they put out tickets for this past Saturday. I was thrilled. I was excited. I was like, Darcy, we got to go see this. I couldn't make our 11:30 Frankenstein. I was like, fuck Frankenstein. I'm gonna stay home and do shit, but I really want to go and see Tuner. I really do wish I did see Frankenstein, maybe at a later date. But that said, Tuner
So good.
is a fantastic film from Daniel Roher. He's a Canadian filmmaker. He's known for his documentary work. This is his first narrative film. Funny story, I had the opportunity to talk to him back in 2019 when he screened his movie at TIFF, Once Were Brothers. It's a film about Robbie Robertson and the band, and he was talking about his love for music and how it kind of like sparked this documentary and wanting to tell the story, and to see a film, his first narrative film, be so deeply rooted in music is incredible. It had so much heart. It's about ambition, wanting to be more, what that looks like, and the things that we have to go through, that the barriers we have to break down to really do it, and just the use of music, the use of sound, the way music is just it's the film's backbone. It's the DNA. It's so brilliant. It was delightfully surprising. It was my favorite of the festival. It was my favorite of the festival for sure. It was the favorite of the festival of the 10 movies that I saw. So, but like I had thought that this film might have had a place in the People's Choice. Sadly, it didn't. But this was a great first like outing for Daniel, and Elevation is behind this. Elevation Pictures is behind the distribution of this, and they're doing a lot. Like they had like 19 films. Most of the films that I wanted to see that I didn't get a chance to see were actually them. Like they were doing it. So hopefully we can actually maybe watch some more movies later. and talk about them. 'Cause
You mean we can keep watching movies, Justin?
after this?
What?
I don't know, man. It seems like it might be a sheer impossible thing. No,
I think I need
know.
to read
We're-
a book now. That's what I need
for
to
sure.
do.
For
My
sure.
eyeballs.
I gotta go watch like a bunch of anime garbage, just kind of flush out like all the good stuff I just watched in my head.
Goodness.
We sound like babies because it's our first TIFF, right? Like
We'll get better.
It doesn't. Yeah, we'll get better. Yeah. I know you're thinking it. Whoever's listening, you know. Okay, look, I know we're running long. We're at an hour. You know what? We're not running long. We're all right on time. I want to throw it to you guys for one last little thing regarding movies. Biggest disappointment.
Oh no.
I got mine.
Yeah,
if it's okay with
too.
you guys, if it's okay with you
ahead.
guys, I'm going to go
Let's
first,
hear
just because I was actually talking about it before, and it was The Smashing Machine, starring The Rock, Emily Blunt, and Benny Safdie. And I say it was my biggest disappointment because it was the thing that I was looking forward to the most. Does that mean it was a bad movie? No. It just wasn't it didn't meet the expectations that I thought, and I guess I kind of psyched myself out in regards to this. But overall, as a story for Mark Kerr, it felt a little flat. The strength of this movie is really in the performance of not just Dwayne but Emily, and their chemistry together to bring some of these moments alive is like they're definitely the heart of the movie. Seeing Dwayne take on this dramatic role, it's interesting. At times it works. At times it looks like he's acting, and I don't think that that's like, just stop, man. Like, you shouldn't be doing it. I think this is another example in his career of a film that's going to serve as a first step for him to just do more like that and get better. So I could see it working in some instances, but in some cases it did feel really like he was acting. And I think the more he leans into dramatic roles, the more he takes on. I think, like you were mentioning before, and with TIFF, we'll get better. He'll get better. Do you know what I mean? The more you do, you know, you'll get better. So I do feel like that was a bit of a disappointment for me. I did have high hopes for it. I was hoping to be knocked out by The Rock.
You wanted to be smashed.
Yeah, I thought it wasn't as smashing as as the names. Oh, yes, that was one pun that I was working with. Do you think someone will pull quote that? No one will.
Hopefully not.
You know what? I think I know Darcy's, but let's Darcy, what's your disappointment from?
Yeah, I mean, mine might also be the same as Nate's. It was one that we did see together. It was John Early's debut for Maddie's Secret.
Yeah.
It's a comedy, or at least it's billed as a comedy, but the premise of it is a food influencer secretly struggles with bulimia. So not the lightest of subject matter. And when you add on the fact that John Early is just playing a woman that's not trans or anything like that, and some of the jokes, I'm only laughing because he's a man, and I know he's a man playing a woman. The tone, I couldn't get
tone
behind.
deaf.
I didn't know if it was
It was tone
I
deaf.
didn't know what it was trying to go for, because it's making funny jokes, opening up with a funny, like, almost parody of, like, your typical 90s rom-coms with the, you know, ladies running through town, and it's like a catching up type thing. And then as you go through the movie, it just shifts to a more serious tone that seems like out of nowhere, and then they try and go back to jokes, and it's like, I'm not sure you can do that. Like, it's just, it was all over the place, and I just don't think the message landed for me. And I feel like if it had gone for a more serious tone, it could have been a very good movie. But the comedy that was shoehorned in just really rubbed me the wrong way. Again, I don't know. I left that movie very disappointed because I love John Early, and this one did not resonate with me whatsoever.
Darcy loves to love things. He says all the time.
Yep.
So coming out of this, even he was like, nope, didn't work. I've had a relationship. I had a relationship with a woman once who had an eating disorder, and she struggled with it quite severely, and it was just so weird when that movie sort of just took that turn into, as you said, that more serious topic in such an unserious manner. It's like taking the sensibilities of, like, Austin Powers, but applying it to something that is an awful thing, and not in the way that you're like, oh, we're better than this sickness or these problems that people have. Not in a way that it's like we're owning it or taking it back or whatever. I just don't know exactly what they were going for. I will commend John Early's ability to play a pitch perfect Hilary Duff. Early career Hilary Duff. He absolutely nailed that. And there were moments in the movie where we were guffawing, we were laughing earlier on in the film.
Again, earlier, yeah.
Right?
Before we knew what the secret was.
Yeah, there's just such a... As soon as we learned that secret, we would have rather you just hold on to that secret there, Maddie. Maddie's last name is Ralph. Maddie Ralph, as in throwing up. And that's like, just one of the jokes that just sort of was like... By that point, we were so checked out. You
didn't do the TIFF thing, eh? You didn't do the thing where you just get up and walk out when you're not happy with it?
No, we were still...
I can't bring myself to do that.
Yeah,
I can't bring myself to do that.
I think I would do that in a film like that. That is like, if it's a film that's as tone deaf as you have described, I think I would have gotten up and left and just pure being... That's just... This isn't funny. This isn't good work.
So I mean, that was the worst film that I saw. I think that from a disappointment standpoint, though, I will mention one more, which for me, I think I might have been the only one that did
you were
see
disappointed twice?
I was disappointed. Well, I was disappointed a few times, but no, Arco was disappointing for me. And Natalie Portman directorial. I thought I thought it was a wonderful sort of message in the movie, but there was so much about it that sort of fell flat other than the visuals. I think the visuals of it are gorgeous. The animation looked really lovely, very Ghibli-esque. The music was gorgeous in the movie, but there was just so much about it that just sort of fell flat. It didn't really connect. I never felt worried or sad or anything, and I love crying in movies. I love feeling things, and I think the biggest thing for me was just there was something in the voice performances. I think there are moments where the kids did a phenomenal job, and there were some moments that felt like they were maybe recording over Zoom. But then specifically with Will Ferrell, Flea, and Andy Samberg, I was really looking forward to them being in the movie, and it was just sort of very there was just a disconnect between the lines that they were reading and what was coming out. So that was one where I was, coming off of that, we enjoyed Space Cadet well enough, but I coming out of Arco, I was just like, oh man, I really wanted animation to hit. So when we went to see Little Amelie today, it was completely turned around for me, and I was so happy with it. I'm so, again, watch that movie. It's so beautiful, but yeah, that there was, I think Dandelion's Odyssey and Little Amelie are the top of the animation side of things. But Arco was one that we saw that trailer, and I was like, this is going to be fantastic, and it was aight. So
yeah. I pivoted after you had seen it and said you didn't like it, and I was like, all right, I'm not going to see that one. So I tried to get into Frankenstein that night and failed. Tried the Rush line and didn't work out for me, so I was like, peace out. But look, we're getting here and we're wrapping up our TIFF experience. We talked about the festival, we talked about the movies that we saw that we really loved, and the ones that disappointed us. I want to just quickly throw it to you guys though, because today, for the last day, you guys went to the TIFF awards ceremony, which was really cool. Love to know, what were some highlights? What'd you get up to? I did not go. I opted to stay home because I was tired. I'm still tired, and I was like, I got to do this, so I'd rather just be prepared and do my day. And my day was sort of busy, so I'm kind of glad I didn't wake up super early after getting home. What time did we get home last night, Darcy?
I think I dropped you off at the train station at like 1. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Is there. So you guys went to this morning. What was it like? What highlights, please? Whoever wants to jump in. Nate, I see you're ready on the fly.
Yeah. This was something that we got in our inbox, a little invite to go to this awards ceremony. It wasn't something that we were. Yeah, I was not expecting it, and it was. It's a lovely way to sort of like end cap the festival. It felt like almost like a end of year graduation ceremony or something like that.
As we go
right?
on, we remember.
Except it was more like Kenny G music playing as we were waiting. So we connected with Matt and Eric and got to watch this awards ceremony with them, and it was great watching all of these folks. A lot of movies that we didn't get a chance to see that I wrote down that I now really do want to check out. But no, it was great to see these folks talk about, these filmmakers talk about their love and passion for what they do, and they were obviously they won these awards, and it was cool. It was a really unique experience, and it was fun to get dressed up and check it out. Darcy, what did you think?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. I like how it's a very small award ceremony, having been to like the Eisner Awards at Comic-Con, or even just watching, the Academy Awards and Emmys, and the scale of it. This one felt very intimate and very small, and it was interesting, obviously, with the festival being so long, a lot of these filmmakers can't stay the entire time, so by the time the announcement comes out, a lot of them have left. So we get a lot of sweet video messages calling in, thanking you, like just where they're accepting this.
Even one that's
award,
upside
basically.
down.
That one
why was Chloe
yeah,
Zhao's? Why was Chloe Zhao? Like, I watched the stream and I was like, oh, it's upside down.
I thought it was on purpose. I thought maybe that was like her, like being like quirky.
No, I think that was
someone. But even if you got that footage, like you're cutting it in, right? It wasn't a live thing. Like, wouldn't you just flip it around? So someone fucked up. I think, but that's fine. That's gonna happen when these messages are probably flying in. Like hers was probably the last one and like inserted last, because that was weird. But I was watching the stream and I was like, oh, it must just be an issue with the stream. No, I saw someone took a picture. It was like, she's accepting the award for Brutalist. I mean, the Hamnet.
No, it was really cool. It was a nice, again, very intimate experience, smaller in scale, and again, just hearing and seeing some of these filmmakers talk about what it means to win the award is really cool.
And then we had a chance to go to the after party, which was cool on the roof of the Bell Lightbox, and it was neat to kind of again get to see all of our various friends who we've been kind of talking with throughout the festival. And then I was getting a drink. I got a mimosa, which I learned I really like mimosas. I was surprised. I was like, wow.
That's it. You're going to be an alcoholic, man.
Oh, no. Is that how it works? Shoot. I asked for it like a mimosa, like how Nintendo would spell it. But speaking of me's on the Wii Shop channel, while I was waiting for my mimosa, to the right of me was Jay McCarroll, Nirvana, the band, the show. The movie won Midnight Madness, which was awesome. So I just I leaned over. I said, "Hey, congratulations! Love the movie." And we had a little bit of a conversation. It was so cool to get to talk to him. It was one of the ones where I was so. Listen, we with Instagram and stuff like that, we can't help but compare ourselves, and so getting to see so many other people in our circles, get to talk to them on an interview basis, I was really happy that I was able to have a conversation with him. We talked about Lost. We talked about some sequences in the movie that I won't spoil, but were mind blowing, and had a good chuckle about that. And he sort of left me with the sentiment of like, because I told him I was a little disappointed that I wasn't part of the zeitgeist of the show as it was happening, that I'd only recently started watching it. I haven't even finished season 2. And he said that that's maybe one of his favorite things about the fandom of Nirvana, the band, the show, is that it is sort of this like ground level sort of, people talking on the internet sort of vibe. And he was saying that he wants it to be successful when it does hit theaters next year. But he hopes that it maintains that sort of cult following and that cult status and that sort of thing. Yeah.
That's a movie that I think a lot of people are going to see for the sake of it because of word of mouth. But I only think what the people that'll walk out and want to go watch the shows is going to be fewer, right? Like I think the cult will still last. The film is more for them, right? Like I think people are gonna be like, oh, that was funny and weird, but I don't know if I really want to watch a show that's about that. But they've at least put that film out there that is a good introduction to what and who they are. So it makes a whole lot of sense to have that. That's really cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
It was neat.
That's great.
Yeah, I photobombed their selfie, so that was fun.
I know. Yeah, that photo was fantastic. It's on our social, and there's going to be some other stuff that'll show up there as well. I'm sure Nate's got his own stuff on his socials as well for the highlights of what he got up to on his busy 17 17
Oh yeah, 17 movies, right? Duh.
17 movies. You guys, that's it. We've been TIFF'd. It's all TIFF'd out. I'm TIFF'd. I'm done.
I'm thoroughly TIFF'd right now.
I know. Well, listen, if you
What's disappointing is that the three of us couldn't get to 50 movies as three people. That we were 3 away.
Oh,
Just
wow.
3 away. Come on.
yeah.
Next year. Next year, 51.
Next team 51. All right. Yeah, if we could do the three of us, that might be a bit easier to share the load. But that is it for our Toronto International Film Festival recap, the TIFF50 recap. Before we go, though, I just want to give a huge thanks again to TIFF for having us accredited for this. This was an amazing experience. I might have obviously just offered some critical thoughts about how the systems can be improved, but the one thing that doesn't need to be improved is your volunteers, because they were fantastic.
Oh,
and
so good.
Everyone was so kind, so helpful, knew their shit. It's crazy. We've been to conventions where, they're pretty used to, like FanX was actually pretty good, but like even like, I guess, global conventions, and the organization always feels very disjointed. I know you guys have been to more international ones, so you could probably attest to that, London to Japan to United States and how everything seems to operate. But here it felt like this was a well-oiled machine. Everyone knew what they were doing and understood how to navigate people. They were all super kind, super helpful, even when I think it was like the first day and it was, again, piss pouring rain, and these people were out here ready to welcome the first comers of day one TIFF. So shout out to them. Also, just, shout out to all the people that we connected with, like your friends. You shouted out Matt Rohrbeck and Eric Marchant of the Untitled Movie Podcast. We spent some good time with them. Again, they were giving us tips and advice. They were making us feel very welcome. And they have a ton of interviews as well. So go check out their stuff. I'm going to put a whole bunch of like links in our show notes, so you can go check out additional TIFF coverage outside of us from our friends. If you want to see some of the lifestyle red carpet stuff, check out our friend, the film tripper, Becca. She did some great coverage as well over TIFF. Our friends at the Movie Podcast also have a ton of interviews as well from a variety of films that were screened at TIFF. So yeah, all their stuff will be linked in the show notes. But as I mentioned, we got more content coming related to TIFF, a variety of different reviews. So you'll want to subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. And we're hoping that we will get some interviews for future things when they do hit general release. So definitely go and subscribe to us on YouTube as well, where our interviews will live. They'll also be on our podcast feed. So you can follow us on both, and that would be great. You can listen to us, you can see us, you can get sick of us if you're not already. But yeah, we're excited to do some reviews. And if you want to write into us and let us know your thoughts on any of the movies that we talked about or any things we've done, well, feel free to reach out to us at wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. That's wearegeekcentric@gmail.com. Be sure to follow us on TikTok and Instagram at wearegeekcentric, and on Twitter at geekcentricyt. We've got other episodes out right now. We've been so busy for 10 days that we haven't really put that much out. I think the only thing that's out right now is our Only Murders in the Building Season 5. Only Murders in the Building Season 5 spoiler-free review. That is out. I believe the first 3 episodes are out, if not more. You know what? Disney Plus or Hulu will be able to tell you that. But we got the first 9 episodes. So there's no way there's all 9 episodes out right now, or else, we would have already seen number 10. But yeah, you can go and listen to that. We do have some stuff coming up for Marvel Animation's Marvel Zombies. We got a fun interview coming up for that project as well. So lots of stuff. We're getting into the cozy fall vibes. What is it now, Nate?
Darcy is the one that decides when
summer.
summer
Still
dies.
summer. It's still summer.
Darcy,
fall
yeah,
doesn't officially begin until the 23rd.
23rd.
You know,
Mark
it
your
figures the
calendars.
guy with dirt would be so anal about seasons. So
Billy's birthday's on the equinox. Like my brother's birthday's the equinox. So I always
Kind of
remember
looks
it.
like the main character of Dandelions Odyssey. Now that
I
look
feel
at
like
him.
I would see his face
Yeah.
in a tree.
Yeah, oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean? Like I could see his face in a
like
tree.
Pocahontas style. Like
More Lord of the Rings.
Oh,
like
okay,
with
I'll
the
take,
hair
I'll take a
and the
tree beard.
leaves.
I'll be an ent.
Yeah,
Whoa,
that's
that's
I could see
sick.
that.
That's
and like
rad.
you're
Yeah.
super high and like you play like, you know, some sort of instrument or something like that made from your limbs. I could see it. Anyways, we're getting sidetracked. We are completely delirious and tired. So thank you for sticking around if you're still here. But until next time, as we say,
Love you.
Laters.
peace.